Welcome to The Way Home with Laura Smith, the show that brings you wonderful guests, helpful advice, and uplifting stories. The Way Home. Live inspired. Here's your host, Laura Smith.
I love it when I get the opportunity to hear about new products, new companies, things that are actually changing the world as we know them, and maybe that other people have not had an opportunity to hear about either, but could change your life in a really positive way. That's what The Way Home is all about. And today I have Dave Riggs on with me. He is the CEO and co-founder of Wybridge Technologies, which is actually based in Tucson, Arizona. He has served as CEO of multiple publicly traded companies across industries, including mining, casinos, biotech, very diverse operations there, and successfully leading 9 IPOs. And he brings more than 3 decades of executive experience in guiding breakthrough technology from concept to market. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today, which is something called EZM. Sounds a little bit like a dance movement back in the 90s, but I digress. Dave Riggs, thank you so much for joining us today from Wybridge Technologies. And I'm so excited to hear. Actually, I've heard a little bit about EZM and what it's doing and what it can do, and this Kickstarter campaign that you're doing with it. But I was just excited to hear about it. Thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, Laura. And hey, thanks very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So when I first heard about EZM and this technology that could really potentially save people tons of money and have them have better performances on their cars, their engines, and all of this. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, why didn't somebody think of this before? And especially with the advent of, with the last administration pushing nothing but electric vehicles, this just seemed like a wonderful opportunity for all of us who never did end up going that route yet to get some new mileage out of our cars that we already own. Tell us exactly what EZM is and what it stands for, and how it can change our driving experience and our lives, basically.
Well, yeah, excellent. The EZM is a compact module that connects to the 12-volt battery, starter battery, if you will, in any internal combustion engine car, whether it's gas or diesel. It doesn't really matter. What it does is refine the ignition system and bring it up to a much higher level so that you get a more consistent spark to ignite the fuel in the combustion chamber. That leads to more miles per gallon and more efficiency and ultimately less emissions. So if you're using less fuel to go the same distance, your overall emission or carbon footprint, they like to say that, it is greatly reduced. And it's a very simple. It's a very simple unit, and simple is sometimes the best solution.
Yeah, it's so simple. Sometimes it seems like, wow, how come somebody didn't think of this before? I mean, it almost sounds too good to be true. And yet it is true. And you've already done a lot of testing and studies on it. And it is proving what it was set out to do. So this is a good sort of stopgap, I guess, for people who haven't moved to an electric vehicle. They still have their car. Is it true that most people's cars are like around an average of 12 years old?
Yeah. So for a variety of reasons, people are keeping their cars longer than ever before. And one of the issues we originally tried to solve was the fact that there are 340 million registered vehicles on the road today. Wow. And every year, 120 replacement batteries supply those. So without a lot of math there, about every 2.7 years, people are replacing their batteries. And batteries cost anywhere from $200 to $600, depending on your needs and the type of battery that you're replacing. So we originally started out just to save that battery. In other words, make sure that the battery would last for the length of the time that you had your car. And so that was the original proposition of why we started our development, and understanding that there were ancillary benefits to improving the performance of a battery. And some of these ancillary benefits were really well quantified with better gas mileage. And then ultimately we tested for emissions and found that the emissions were lower too. So it's kind of a triple threat, but it just adds to the existing systems without interacting with them, and maximizes the performance of the ignition system in every car that we've tested. And we've tested over 60 cars 1,000 times, so we're pretty confident that it's going to work ubiquitously.
So if you put the EZM onto a battery that, say, is kind of on its way out, does it like refurbish it? Does it revitalize it?
It doesn't heal. It doesn't fix anything. So what it does do is it acts as a support mechanism. So when you start your car, the battery is the power source for starting the car. After that, your alternator runs your car. And with more and more electronics in cars, the alternator is being taxed to a greater and greater limits. So if you can add a component, the EZM or emission zero module, to that equation, you support not only the operation of the car, but the initial starting of the car. And that's really where you notice batteries are weakening or not performing up to speed, is when you turn the ignition and it gives you that sound rather than the turnover and start sound.
Mm-hmm. So I really am surprised, like that it only was just now discovered that something like this could exist and help you. I mean, when I think of all the years and all the cars that I've had, and batteries were always an issue, and then also emissions too. People became conscious of that, and more especially, I would say, in the past decade or so, people think about those things. But right now, I think about how even though gas prices have come down, they're still not low enough. When I first moved out here to northern Indiana in 2020, gas was about $1.73 a gallon. And, it got almost up to $4, I think, during the last year of the last administration. And now it's back down to like anywhere between $2.40 and $2.80 now. So, but we're still not down to $1.73. And I'm convinced that we should be able to. So tell us the ratio of how much gas you could actually save, or how many more miles per gallon, I guess I should say, that you could get by using an EZM.
Yeah, and so you talk about the miles per gallon, and where that comes into play. Gas prices go up and down, and it's always nice to save money. But when you're talking about the overall range, one of our favorite vehicles to test is a Ford F-150. And the standard Ford F-150 EcoBoost motor, they're getting 100 miles per tank full more range. Now, and one of the favorite stories is a guy named George out of Wyoming, which I don't know if you've ever been with Wyoming, but there's a lot of Wyoming per road, right? So
right.
Sometimes, you get 50 to 100 miles extra range. That's when you're 35 miles from the next gas station and you're riding on 50 miles is really nice, right? And 100 miles is awesome. So it goes beyond just the monetary savings that you get from burning less fuel. There's all kinds of factors that make a car with greater range at a lower cost attractive.
Absolutely. I mean, I drive across country all the time. So because I lived in New York for 4 decades, so I spend at least 2 times a year, if not 3 or 4, driving back and forth from Indiana out to New York. And that happens to me all the time. And let me tell you, if I were able to get an extra 100 miles, that would be a huge difference. It really would. I mean, just in how many times you have to stop for gas and everything. Like you said, there have been times I've been on empty and I'm in the middle of, Pennsylvania Poconos or something. And I literally don't know if I'm going to make it, and I'm going to be on the side of the road somewhere. So yeah, what an incredible thing. And I can imagine too. So you're saying that for even like big trucks or big SUVs, those really large vehicles, I have a tiny Honda Fit. So, but if for even the large cars, the EZM is going to be able to help that too.
Yeah, so George out of Wyoming, he drives a Yukon Denali, and he was averaging about 14.9 miles per gallon. And that was prior to installing the EZM. And now he's 16.9, almost 17. He counts on 17 miles per gallon. So, yeah, that's a 13 to 15% difference in mileage means a lot to somebody with a big car, and that consumes a lot of fuel. So it can add up, and it's one of the benefits of the three benefits that we really like to consider the EZM as a triple threat. So we've gone to great lengths to take our internal data, which we spent 2 years and about $2.5 million testing and getting data, and then we took that data to independent labs and had them test it, kind of blind test. We didn't tell them what the unit did. We didn't tell them anything about it. We just said, hey, run it on cars and run your normal tests like they would for any OEM. Now, we went to the heart of the U.S. automobile industry. We went to Dearborn, Michigan, and enlisted the support of a lab that supports all the OEMs in Michigan, and just told them blind test, and they came back and substantiated every data point that we had. Plus, they opened our eyes up to the performance side of it a little more than we are considering. They had taken the Elephant engine out of the Dodge Demon, and found that it even increased the horsepower by 25% on a high performance engine that is designed for the maximum efficiency. So we were very pleased with the outcome of independent labs that had no dog in the fight, and so we then decided that we had a product that we could now manufacture, offer to the public, and substantiate our claims, and not worry about how it was going to work and if it was going to work, and all those other questions that you, as a manufacturer of a new product, keep you up at night.
Sure, absolutely. My guest is Dave Riggs. He's the CEO and co-founder of Y-Bridge Technologies, and this EZM that they have developed and is ready to come to market is it's this patented ignition optimization upgrade, which is designed to improve fuel economy, increase power, and reduce emissions for everyday drivers, which, as you said, is you're calling it your triple threat. And I think it's wonderful. Now, let's talk about the marketing aspect. I'm surprised Elon Musk or somebody hasn't already said, hey, we're going to develop this now. Obviously, you have patents on something like this, correct? And how are you bringing this to market? How can we get involved, and how can I get one ASAP?
Well, that's a great question. We are going to launch this product on a platform called Kickstarter, and the reason for that is we viewed ourselves as kind of a grassroots organization. And Kickstarter allows you to, it's a crowdfunding platform that really allows backers, individuals, to help fund the initial manufacturing and development to market for the EZM. We think that once we get a toehold in the market, that we will do very, very well because of the results that we've seen. So we're going to launch on Kickstarter. We believe our official launch will be March 3rd. And then we hope to fund our initial full production run on that, and then cascade our presence in the market from there.
That's exciting. It really is. I love the crowdfunding aspect, especially when it comes to new products that people are trying to bring to bear on in the marketplace. And so, how would they find it if it's happening March 3rd? How can people find it now if they want to go and maybe reserve? So, what do? You decide to? Do you have to give a certain amount of money, or do you just pick the the amount that you want to give, or do you somehow reserve one of the EZMs for yourself by putting in a certain amount of money?
Yeah, so if you go to the Kickstarter page, I'll kind of walk you through it. We're registered on, we'll be registered on Kickstarter. But right now, if you are interested in reserving one of the units, it's you go to getezm.com. And that's GETEZM.com. And you can, for $5, which is fully refundable, you can reserve your spot for the first, and we're really giving a huge discount for the first 100 people that will reserve the EZM. We think it's going to retail around $499 or $500, and then for half that price on the first 100, we'll launch it. So it's an excellent opportunity. Most of all the information on how to get involved and all that you just go to getezm.com.
That is easy to remember. GetEZM, M as in Mary. GetEZM.com. Reserve your spot, and then you're eligible for 55% off of that roughly $499 price, which would bring it to $225. But think about the savings you're going to have between saving your battery, saving on gas, getting more mileage. I mean, you think about that, and $225 is a drop in the bucket compared to what it sounds like EZM is going to do for the average consumer. And I really hope everybody gets in on the early part of getting their spot to get one, because it really is. This is what America is, isn't it? It's ingenuity. It's coming up with solutions to problems and then making it available. And this is, to me, why it's the best country in the world. This is where people's dreams happen and where lives can be made better because of innovation such as yours. So, David Riggs, I'm very grateful that you joined us today from Wybridge Technologies. Again, it's called an EZM. And give us the scientific, the verbiage for what EZM stands for.
Well, that stands for Emission Zero Module. And that's really our tagline, is that we saw that it reduced the emissions of cars over 50% in some cases. So we thought that would be a really good way to introduce the efficiency, the ignition efficiency module to the public. One of the things I just wanted to touch base on real quick is, as far as the Kickstarter crowdfunding, it's not funding research and development. We've gone through over 10 years of research development and over $2.5 million of testing, and we're to the point where we will manufacture. So any commitment, any pledge that you make on the Kickstarter will go directly to manufacturing units that will be delivered to you at a huge discount rate.
That's fantastic. Once again, getezm.com for this Emissions Zero module. EZM's easier to remember, but get yours. Get a spot on the list to get yours as soon as you can. It goes towards the manufacturing of it to get it right to the public, right to you. Thank you so much, David. Really appreciate it, and love hearing the story behind EZM, and can't wait to get mine.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It was a great opportunity, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're listening to The Way Home with Laura Smith. Once again, here's Laura.
Well, I have, I would say, probably a really good or bad habit, and that's that I love cheese almost more than any other food in the world. But I have learned a lot about my craving and my, love for this product that is obviously a derivative of cow's milk. And so I wanted to talk to somebody who really knew what goes on when it comes to making cheese, and if indeed there are any healthy alternatives, and there are. Amber Canavan is here. She is the manager of campaigns for PETA, which is the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Amber, thank you so much for joining me today. Are you going to get me to get off my cheese craving train and get me onto to something a little more that's more, I would say, humane and healthy?
I sure hope so. There is so much vegan cheese out there and so many reasons to ditch dairy, including you alluded to a cheese addiction. And
Yeah.
that is one of the things I wanted to talk about today. We hear people saying, oh, I'm addicted to cheese. I can't seem to give it up. I just want more. There is actually a chemical compound in dairy-based cheese. It's called casomorphins, and they actually do act on the brain and make you crave more cheese. So you are not crazy. There is something there that is that is influencing you.
I see. Oh my gosh, that's really something. So, I also, in addition to loving it, I've basically been told all my life, oh, cheese is actually really good for you because it's made with milk, and milk is vitamin D and calcium. And so it's a healthy fat to have. Now tell me about what's really in cheese and, whether or not there is a much healthier way to get the same type of whatever it is, healthy fats.
The reality is a lot of cultures, and there's a lot of people who are lactose intolerant who can't even consume cow's milk without having a horrible stomach ache and other health issues. Cow's milk also, it has a lot of cholesterol in it. It contains no fiber. 90 to 97% of Americans are deficient in fiber. So swapping, I'm not going to say vegan cheese is health food because it's still definitely a decadent, higher fat, delicious food. But it's going to have some of that fiber in it. It's cholesterol free. It's better for the cows too.
Absolutely. And I'm assuming now in the vegan cheese department, there's probably every type you can imagine.
You can, go to the grocery store. There's so many brands out there. There's Daya, Treeline, Kite Hill, where you're just going to look at the cheese aisle in the grocery store and you'll start realizing that those brands have been there, sitting there all along, staring at you. And you just swap it in. You can get boxed mac and cheese at the store, Daya brand mac and cheese that's completely vegan and again cholesterol free, and it's just quick, easy swaps that can have that big impact.
That's interesting. Well, the other end of it, which I have been aware of for a long time, and I really need to give it more of a thought, is I really don't like the practice of how regular dairy farms, how they treat the cows. And then I see those little, those little houses where they keep the baby cows away from the mother. And it's so devastating. I've actually visited farms where the people had those, and all you do is hear these crying animals literally all day long. It is so devastating. It makes me so sad. And, it's just, has the practice not gotten any more humane after all these thousands of years?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. A lot of people don't realize that cows produce milk for the same reason that all mammals do, which is to feed their babies. They have to become pregnant and be lactating just like us. So the dairy industry, to keep that milk flowing, forcibly impregnates cows, takes those beloved babies away. And I have also heard them crying for days from having lived near dairy farms. And that milk that was meant for their babies is just being turned into a pizza topping. And we know so much more about cows and their abilities. They are intelligent feeling individuals. They love their families deeply, and they mourn them when they are taken away. And that is just so much unnecessary heartbreak. Cows can live for 20 or more years when they're like at a sanctuary being taken care of. The dairy industry, from years of repeated impregnations and the heartbreak of having their babies taken away, they're typically killed at a fraction of their lifespan, like 4 to 6 years versus the 20 that they could live. So when people are thinking, oh, it doesn't hurt them, one, it absolutely does. And two, they're killed as well. If they can't give birth anymore and lactate, they're useless and they are killed.
It's just incredible. Very sad. And one final thing, there's also apparently a terrible bacteria that is found in cheese. And it's kind of hard for me to pronounce, but it sounds really gross. It sounds awful.
Yeah, so some dairy-based cheeses contain the same kind of bacteria that makes your toes smell bad. So if you smell like that nasty feet smell, that is a bacteria called Brevibacterium, and it can be found in some cheeses.
That's all you had to say. Oh my goodness. Well, we thank you so much. You know, it's knowledge, and it's not trying to, browbeat people or make them feel bad, for what they're doing. But education is key, and really learning about these things is so important. So I do thank you. I thank PETA for the work that they do on so many levels, and helping to protect and treat animals with the love and the dignity they deserve. And so, Amber Canavan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to The Way Home. Each and every one of you are a part of The Way Home family, and we just wish for nothing but great happiness and safety and good health and prosperity, success, everything that you can possibly have to make your life a good one. And we'll see you next time on The Way Home. I'm Laura Smith.
Podcasts by Federated Media.